My name is Musa Adnan. That's Faisal Choudhry. This is ReRooted, and here's what we have coming up today.
It's the environment, it's the lighting. I told you, it makes you feel too relaxed.
What can I say? Shout out to Musa, our producer. He's smashing it with the lighting and the
feel
whole
like
vibe.
feel like I'm taking one of my sleeping tablets.
Oh my god. Okay, pause. We need to pause. We need to pause.
You know when someone asks you about your wife, you do like sort of feel a hit, like, oh, like, why are you asking me about my wife? Leave it alone. Do you know what I mean?
I remember the first time someone mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
They said, "How's your wife? How's the wife doing?" I remember overthinking about that and thinking, why is he talking about my wife?
Yeah.
Nate was a non-Muslim, and just from working with you guys, he ended up becoming a Muslim. How did you guys give Nate da'wah? How did you invite him to Islam? What made Nate one day say, you know what, whoa, I need to become a Muslim? Getting straight into it, I just quickly want to speak to you guys, let you guys know about something very, very quickly. We are on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and Google Play. There's no excuses. Make sure you listen to us on one of those. Faisal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How's it going, bro?
Alhamdulillah.
Got to do the handshake.
I know.
How have you been?
Alhamdulillah, I've been very well.
How do you feel? Because you're on the opposite side now.
It's an uncomfortable territory for me. And also, I feel extremely relaxed because of the lighting in this room,
Nice,
the
chilled out.
environment. Yeah, I feel extremely relaxed. Yeah, very, very relaxed.
So this is my chance.
Too relaxed. Go on.
You've done how many episodes of your podcast, Freshly Grounded?
94, alhamdulillah.
So this is my chance to get back at you
For all of
on
those
behalf
guests.
of 94 people.
Subhanallah.
It's going to be good, inshallah. Bro, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel as being, because now, you know, we were speaking the other day on the phone and we were talking about how so many people are doing podcasts now. But Freshly Grounded, your podcast, was one of the first, you know, mainstream, if I can say, Muslim podcasts, if not the first mainstream Muslim podcast, at least to me, and I'm sure thousands of people. How does it feel, you know, that you kind of were the creator of such a big trend now?
For me, it wasn't like a first at all because I've always had this like fascination with like America. Because since I was little, I used to really love wrestling, which is obviously American, right? So that was like my thing when I was little, and so I used to know a lot about America through that lens. And so I suppose when I got older, I was immersed in kind of the culture of wrestling, and then I eventually mixed martial arts before it was like what it is today.
Okay.
And so because of that, I started listening to podcasts quite early on about mixed martial arts and stuff like that. And so when podcasts were not known at all here, I suppose listening to them for years. I had been listening to them for years. So I think I thought to myself, eventually they're going to come over to the UK. There was a few out like Sky Sports and that kind of stuff, but they definitely were not kind of mainstream like they are now. And so I thought I wanted to try it. I mean, it's a longer story than that, but that was one of the things that
I think a lot of people don't know that you had a podcast before Freshly Grounded.
Yes, yeah.
And I was actually on it.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And it didn't get released.
And it never got published. Yeah, I think we know why it never got published.
We know why. We
Yeah.
won't speak about why.
Yeah.
Let's just say the topic we spoke about was a little bit...
I had been gifted a book. I was newly married, I think.
Yeah.
And so we decided to open that book and read it on mic. And I think it's best that we didn't put that out.
Yeah, definitely. That was called The Next Phase.
That was the next phase.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
obviously a spin-off on your name, and then you launched Freshly Grounded. With launching Freshly Grounded, because we come from an era on YouTube, because we both make YouTube videos, I'm sure a lot of the people listening right now know about many of your YouTube videos, some of my stuff, iERA, etc. That era of YouTube, it's like unheard of to make videos that are longer than 10 minutes, 12 minutes. We would always, I don't know about you, but me and some of the brothers, when we would make YouTube videos, we'd make sure we would actually have a time. This can't go over 5 minutes, can't go over 6 minutes, can't go over 12 minutes, because we're going to lose viewership. People aren't going to listen to it. We want to make it as accessible to people. And then Faisal comes along and does a 3-hour podcast. So Like,
I always struggled with the idea of cutting down my YouTube videos anyway, because when I used to do vlog and stuff like that,
so you just relapsed real hard.
Yeah, I like the idea of a podcast being as long as it needs to be until the conversation finishes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not expecting someone to listen to it in one go. I'm expecting them to listen to it until the next one is out. So if you're putting an episode out once a week, I'm expecting you to be able to listen to it on your journeys into work, into school, here and there. Just plug and play for 10 minutes, 15 minutes until the next episode is out. So I never had a problem with it being too long. I wanted to keep it natural.
You know, one thing I find interesting about you, because you're doing Freshly Grounded, mashallah, you know, may Allah increase you in that. I mean, and you've been doing it for some time. You're online, you've got your online platform, you're working with your brother Omar, and you're doing all of this sort of stuff. But what a lot of people might not know about you, you have made it public though, is you went to university and you studied criminology.
Yep.
How did you find that?
I found university life beneficial in kind of making myself a bit more independent, not living with family, and just little things like having to really be on top of yourself.
Yeah.
With regards to hygiene of your room and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like every little thing. You have to clean the toilets, etc.
Okay, I've never had to. Okay.
Well,
were you living alone?
No, I wasn't living alone, but we had our own bathrooms. In first year, we had our own bathrooms.
Okay.
So, you know, you have to keep your toilet and your bathroom clean. If you're not going to do it, no one's going to do it. And so that kind of thing, I became like really desensitized to, like nice and early. So now I have no problems cleaning toilets.
I think university, like, aside from obviously your cleaning toilet story, but I think university, a lot of people go through university and they come out different.
Yeah, definitely.
In a sense where I think university either, I don't know if I can say this, but either really helps you or maybe it really messes you up.
Yeah, it does make or break. Yeah, definitely. And you see that in so many people's journeys. I think now there's a wave of people coming to the dean like when they go to university. I think, or maybe that's just because of my story.
You know what I think it is? I think it's about your intention when going to university. Like me going uni, my intention is like I'm serious about, you know, studying. Even actually the university I go to, the ISOC, actually ended up contacting me, and they spoke to me and they were like, yo, we want you to get involved and we want you, you know, to be on the ISOC and stuff like that and whatnot. And that's what they expressed to me. But it was just like, even when they invite me for all of that, and I was just like, my mentality with this whole thing is I'm in and I'm out. I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to go study and I'm out. And I think a lot of people's purpose with university is to socialize, chill, have fun, do all of that sort of stuff, and then university like gets serious going, you know, down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose back to your original question, criminology itself, I suppose, didn't really help me in regards to like my career, but going the general experiences of university, I think I took a lot of lessons from it.
That's what I wanted to speak about actually. So you studied criminology, and when was the first time I met you? Remember when we met and we went to a restaurant and we ate charcoal grill in Willesden, to be specific? Had you just come out of university then?
I must have, yeah. I must have been, I would have just been out of university. It would have been my first year out of university, yeah.
So you launched your clothing brand?
In university.
In university?
Yeah.
And you came out of a criminology degree?
Yeah. And
you were selling clothes?
Yeah.
How did that work?
I started my clothing brand. I started a clothing brand in university.
Yeah.
And then I kind of changed that over to iERA, which was the second version of it.
Yeah.
In university again. And so then when I came out, I just naturally, I was never interested specifically that much in my degree. I did find it interesting, to be honest, the study of criminology. I really liked the psychology aspect of it, but I was never interested in taking it as a career because I knew that the career route for criminology was very, very thin. You could either be a criminologist, which is, I suppose, someone who will analyze the people that you see in crime documentaries, or they like sit there and kind of explain what's happened, or you know, you can go into different fields. You can't really go into policing. You can, but you don't need a degree for it. So because I knew the career, the route was thin with criminology, I decided to kind of have a look at trying to do my own thing, and I fell into clothing.
Did that demoralize you at all? Because a lot, bro, the reason I wanted to speak to you about this, because you're speaking about it in a very calm way.
It's the environment, it's the lighting. I told you, it makes me feel too relaxed.
What can I say? Shout out to Musa, our producer. He's smashing it with the lighting and the whole vibe.
I feel like I'm taking one of my sleeping tablets.
Oh my god. Okay, pause. We need to pause. we need to pause and we need to talk about sleeping tablets.
Yeah, I feel like I've over promoted them. I don't take them that much.
Recently,
Yeah.
me and Faisal were on a tour.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we were doing some, events and stuff like that and whatnot with a particular organization.
Particular, yeah.
Okay, and what happened on that? Okay, I think it's best you explain this.
So
Because
when I travel, there's a few things that I always take with me, and one of them is some sleeping tablets. Just in case, because you're traveling, just in case I can't fall asleep, you're not in your natural environment and you might struggle to sleep. Or if you're flying, for example, I like to take sleeping tablets when I fly, but I don't generally take sleeping tablets. And I had to make that clear in one of my episodes, in an episode I did with a brother called Adam Afghan. I was talking a lot about them, and I was explaining that I don't take them regularly at all because you can get addicted to them. So it's not like what it sounds, but my point is when I travel I do take sleeping tablets with me in case I need them, right?
I'm so glad you brought this up.
And so one of the days of the tour, I think we had to get up really early the next day, like we did every day, and we were in Cardiff, and you and I we had to share a room that day.
You're not giving no. Are you talking about the first in Birmingham? Yeah.
No, I was talking about Cardiff.
Start with Birmingham.
What happened in Birmingham?
Okay, let me come in now.
I don't even remember doing Birmingham. Yeah, Birmingham.
So me and Faisal wanted to share a room because we both knew each other, etc. and whatnot. So we
everyone had to share rooms anyway.
Yeah,
so
no,
we chose that we thought it was best to share
because we know each other
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So we're sharing a room now.
Yeah.
We're in the room, and
I don't remember Birmingham at all.
let me remind you. Yeah. So the hotel was booked in like a very urban part of Birmingham. So it's like clubbing going on and all of this sort of stuff going on, whatnot outside. And we were like, guys, why did you book the hotel here? But it was what it is. So we were in the hotel room, and
Was it the hotel room that felt like Students' Union? Was that Birmingham or was that Manchester?
no, that was somewhere else, man. Like there were so many hotel rooms.
Okay.
But check Birmingham, yeah.
Right.
So we're in the room and we're talking about going to sleep, yeah. And a thing with me, I don't know if anyone relates. I think a lot of people can relate with this. I don't know. I just think it. When I need to go to sleep, and I'm really excited about the next day, I find it hard to fall asleep.
Yeah, I think that's natural. Yeah.
Yeah. So Faisal was like to me, bro, I carry these sleeping tablets. Do you want to try one? And I was like, man, I don't know. This stuff messes me up, man. Generally, I'm really sensitive. Even coffee, I started to become more of a coffee drinker recently, and now I've become immune to coffee. But initially, bro, when I drink coffee, I would be up, and I would feel my heart beat fast and stuff like that. So I'm sensitive to this. I'm like, Faisal, I don't know, man. I don't know. You're like, bro, just take it. Trust me. So you peer pressure me into taking it. So I take it, drink, and we just like we try and go sleep. So I fall asleep, you fall asleep, and I remember waking up.
You felt horrible
and feeling disgusting.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
And I remember saying to you, bro,
never again.
This sleeping tablet kicked in when I woke up.
I remember.
Do you remember now?
Yeah.
I feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, like, I feel like just not even, nowadays, I'll be honest, because I get a good amount. I need to actually cut down my hours of sleep. I get too much sleep, and I feel too groggy.
Okay.
But it wasn't a groggy feeling. It was a feeling of, wow, I don't feel like I'm here, kind of thing. So it kicked in when I woke up, and we weren't getting a lot of sleep anyway. Fast forward the story to Cardiff. Cardiff.
Yeah, so in Cardiff, we had to wake up really early the next day. We got to Cardiff really late, and it was the last day of the tour. And so that was the only time we had taken a sleeping tablet on that tour, right? That Birmingham so far. Yeah. So we weren't taking sleeping tablets every night, obviously, which obviously is not it's not recommended to take sleeping tablets regularly anyway. It's like a once in a blue moon kind of thing, and I police myself on that because I have a very addictive personality, so I have to police myself. So I like if I'm not traveling, I throw away all my sleeping tablets. So I don't have any on me because I don't want to have that option. That's bad, isn't it?
You sound like a drug addict with sleeping tablets.
I'm a really addictive personality with coffee as well.
I've noticed.
So anyway, I'm not making it any better for myself. So Cardiff, right? So what happened in Cardiff is we decided. So we were up, we were in a really like laughing mood. We were just laughing. We're telling each other stories about like things that have happened in the past, and we were just like barely laughing. Like one of those rare times that you get maybe once every like 4, 5, 6 months.
Definitely, and we were crying.
Yeah, and like it's like it's like the best thing, but it happens so rarely.
Yeah,
and so we ended up being up till like 3, 4 a.m.
I've never seen you that excited. You're like every other minute you're getting out of bed. You're like, bro, this is.
I'll tell you stories. When I tell stories, I like to act them out.
Yeah.
And so then what ended up happening is he was like, bro, I said, bro, we need to sleep.
You're gonna tell
So I said,
Wait, let me
so I said, shall we take a sleeping tablet to like force us into sleep?
because we were laughing so much.
Because I wasn't gonna sleep otherwise. I was like, I have to be like chemically put to sleep at this point.
Yeah.
So
Wait, before you tell it, yeah, can I just go back in
go on,
Cardiff,
go on.
So when we walked into the hotel room in Cardiff, guys, this is us rewinding a little bit. We see a double bed.
Oh yeah.
So we're like, guys, man, why'd you book us a double bed?
Yeah.
So like, what are we gonna do here now, yeah, and whatnot? It's a double bed here.
Yeah.
So
I call downstairs. I'm like, guys, we got a double bed. We got a double bed, so it's alright because we're not gonna. It's really late. We're not gonna complain, but can we at least get like an extra bed sheet because it's haram to like share a bed sheet between two, but even like siblings after they've hit puberty, from what I know. And so I was like, look, we have to at least have our own bed sheets. But I said, Khair, you sleep on that side of the bed, I'll sleep on this side of the bed. Alhamdulillah, it's fine. We'll just get a separate bed sheet. So
and then do you remember what they said to you?
no, so they didn't say anything at that point.
Okay.
I think what happened is they came upstairs with the extra bedsheet, and I opened the door and I took the bedsheet off them. And as they gave the bedsheet, they said, "Oh, by the way,"
and we're both standing there. Yeah.
They said, "By the way, do you know that it's actually two separate beds, and they just clipped in together, and you can actually separate them?" And I was so tired. I said, "Thanks," and I looked at Musa. I said, "I can't be bothered to separate the beds." And we just slept on the other. So
And the guy was like, "Are you sure you don't want to separate them?" We're like, "No, we're sure. Trust me, yeah." It must have looked so wrong.
But we were just so tired, and it was a big enough bed. I was like, "You sleep on that side, I sleep on that side. We've got different bed sheets."
Now going back to the sleeping tablet. So you actually only take the sleeping tablet.
I only took sleeping tablet. You didn't take one
because I had a really bad experience with it, as you know.
Yeah. And then I took a sleeping tablet, and then Musa didn't, and like 2 seconds after I take the sleeping tablet, Musa's snoring, and I'm up like almost all night because his snoring keeps me up. So the sleeping tablet didn't even help me that time.
That's why it's so funny, because you had so much reliance on these sleeping tablets. You were like, yeah, they're gonna put me to sleep, and then it was just the thing.
That was one of the last times I took one, to be fair, because like I said, I think I took one like once since then.
You know, speaking of laughing and like laughing unbearably, we had a time where we were on Iman channel. That's actually who we were touring with as well, and we were on Iman channel, and we could not control our laughter. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And we were with Sheikh Wasim.
I felt so embarrassed because we were Sheikh Wasim.
We were with Sheikh Wasim, and he was sitting there. Now, guys, like, to give context, you know, for people that don't know who Sheikh Wasim is, etc. Obviously, he's like a religious figure.
He does the khutbahs at London Central Mosque.
Yeah, at Regent's Park. Yeah.
Regent's Park.
So he's someone who's like a sheikh. He's like a teacher. He's someone respectable, etc. So we're sitting there with him, and the guys in our ears are telling us like stories and stuff like that and whatnot, and comments and whatnot. And when
the producers get comfortable with you, they start chatting to you in your ear.
And then that causes a lot of problems for you as a presenter.
Yeah, we lost it.
It just causes a lot of issues, man. Honestly.
But what happened? The funny thing is that what had happened is we lost it on camera on live TV in Ramadan, and Ramadan is the busiest time of the year, obviously, for Islamic TV channels.
So the most people are watching.
There's thousands of people watching, and I think we had like a prime time show, so it was like between Maghrib and Iftar. Between like Iftar and Isha or something. I can't remember.
That's like prime time.
It was during a really busy period, and so we burst out laughing. But alhamdulillah, the advantage of it was that A, it was Sheikh Wasim, and he is very easygoing with that kind of stuff, and B, it actually kind of worked in our advantage because the team at Iman actually ended up finding it funny.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I remember I actually got worried.
Yeah, I got worried
because we laughed so much.
I thought I wouldn't get booked for TV again.
Yeah, no, we laughed so much. It was bad. It was really, really bad. You know, alhamdulillah, you know, bro, like we've known each other for a few years now, I'd say. Maybe 2-3 years.
Yep.
And I think we've had a really good friendship in the sense where the things we've experienced together, now that I think of them, like in hindsight, we've had really good experiences together, man. Like one experience that I really actually cherish, like in my heart, like I really value that experience, is when we all basically got invited to a wedding. Myself, yourself, other brothers in the dawah, some of our friends, etc. We all got invited to a wedding in Dubai. Okay, so we get invited to this wedding, and the amazing thing about that trip is, one, you're with all of your friends.
Yeah. That
hardly happens, bro. You're like, how hard is it to get 2 people to go on holiday with you, let alone 8, 9
it's
people.
difficult. It's difficult.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
So we had 9 people with us, ready to go on holiday. And we had our wives with us, which was an amazing experience within itself, because it was just nice. Like,
that was my first holiday with my wife. That was
beautiful.
I had only had my nikah about 6-7 months before that.
And we all had our each apartments.
Yeah.
We all had apartments each and
Yeah,
whatnot.
a really like nice apartment.
Yeah. It was really, really good. And only the married brothers got like their own apartments with their wives. Obviously. Yeah. That's how it was.
Yeah.
So when we were there,
alhamdulillah, the apartments were provided for us.
Yeah, they were provided for us.
Otherwise, I don't know if I would have been in such a nice apartment.
Yeah. It's
like
true.
right outside the Burj Khalifa and everything. Where my balcony was, the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah. We were like on Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And it's, as I was saying, like, it's hard to get your friends together, bro. We had our wives with us.
Yeah,
it was such an amazing experience where you're going out, I'm with you, our wives are chilling, they're going out, they're doing their thing, we're doing our own thing. It was really, really nice experience. How did you find it?
It was good, man. It was a big learning. It was a big like lesson for me in loads of aspects, because it was the first holiday I had with my wife.
Yeah.
It was the first time I had been around kind of the brothers who are like on YouTube and stuff in the da'wah scene properly. Like I was like really around everyone. I think MB might have been there as well.
MB was there. Was there. We met MB there, Muslim Bilal.
Yeah. He was there because I got a really iconic picture of him there.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So it was. I learned a lot. I learned how to like what position to take in a group. Like if for example there's a group leader, I learned that you have to be able to listen to a group leader for things to run smoothly. So sometimes things don't go your way. You don't want to wake up at a specific time, or you don't want to go to a specific location, but for the sake of the team, you have to kind of do that. So it was a good experience, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed that. Because with me, I really enjoy going to Dubai. I think Dubai is one of the best places to go on holiday.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite places. Man,
I know people are gonna differ with this, because they're gonna say, oh, you know, it's really it's really artificial. A lot of people say it's really artificial. I just enjoy it because it's like you're there, everything's there. Food wise, it's good. You get the best of both worlds. Easy to pray. Muslim environment. One thing that I loved about Dubai is you're in Dubai Mall. If I'm not mistaken, this is the biggest mall in the world. Like globally, I'm talking, this is shops everywhere. And I remember I went to Dubai with my mum once after this, and bro, we were walking around in Dubai Mall, and we went there nearly every day, and we still didn't see all of Dubai Mall.
It's huge.
That's how big it is, bro.
There's like an entire floor of it is just for like babies and children clothing, and it's a huge mall. So imagine like how many shops, and that's just like one category of type of clothing.
There's shops in there that have 4 branches in Dubai Mall. Can you believe that?
Oh yeah, subhanallah.
It's crazy, yeah. But like the reason I'm telling all this story is because when I go there and you're walking through it and you hear the adhan, bro, I don't know about you, but I find that so powerful. Like here you are in the midst of everything. Dunya, people are here on holiday. People are here like, you know, with their families. There's people from all backgrounds, Muslims, non-Muslims, Hindu, Christian, Jewish, whatever background you're from. You're all here in Dubai. Some people are there for work. Some people live there. And then you're just randomly, all of a sudden, it's time for Dhuhr Salah. Boom. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You're hearing the adhan. I think that's an amazing, amazing perspective of dawah. You look like you're deep in thought.
No, it's true. I was thinking that I was in Turkey recently, and it was similar. Like you hear the adhan, and it's beautiful because like when we were in Turkey, you can hear it from like all of the different masajid, because it's quite like rural. Whereas in Dubai, like when you're in the mall, you only hear the adhan of the mall.
So it's like echoing everywhere.
Yeah, you can hear like the echoing of different like.
That's like Pakistan.
Is it?
It's like that in Pakistan.
I went to Pakistan about a year ago, actually, for the first time since I was about 4 years old or something. So I actually went for my first time really to Pakistan just like a year or so ago.
How did you find it?
Better than I had expected, yeah. I didn't know what my expectations were, but you only hear about it from like the news and stuff and media. And I had a really good time, man. I went to see my cousins back home as well. Yeah, Pakistan was cool. I would be like happy and look forward to going back there, inshallah. Whereas before I didn't really know. But you've been quite often, right?
Yeah, at one point I was going every year.
Yeah,
and then I started calming it down a bit. But I really enjoy Pakistan.
When we went, I got an Uber to the mall. We were in Islamabad. I got an Uber to the mall, and it cost me 90p.
Bro, I remember in Malaysia, me and my wife, we got an Uber from, like, I'm talking, this is like Kuala Lumpur, and we went like outside, bro, of Kuala Lumpur, and it cost me something crazy, like £3-4
Yeah.
or £5, and I was like, oh, shocked, this is crazy. I could really live like this. But yeah, like, speaking of, obviously, like, me and my wife going on holiday and stuff like that, I've been married now, alhamdulillah. May Allah preserve us in our marriage.
Ameen.
Reunite us in Jannah.
Ameen.
Al-Firdaus, the
Ameen.
highest level of heaven.
Ameen.
And we've gone on holiday a few times and whatnot. Married life has been difficult at times, very enjoyable at times, stressful at times. You feel like you got a lot of responsibility on you. How have you found married life?
I think maybe we've been married around the same amount of time, or not?
I think you got married a few months after me.
Okay.
So 3 years, right? You've been married?
Yeah, I've been married 3 years.
Yeah,
3 years this month.
Okay, so I've been married 3 years and like 6 months.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Bro, I don't have much to say about married life in the sense that, other than it's the best decision I ever made in my life.
That's a big thing to say.
Yeah, definitely. I have nothing negative to say about my
What
wife.
makes you say that?
It upsets me when I hear brothers like, although I've probably done it myself, but you know, it's very easy or it's very like lad culture to say, for example, oh, you're getting married, oh, you're locked away now and stuff like, you know, jokes like that.
Typical jokes.
Yeah, typical jokes, which maybe I have fallen victim to doing as well, or saying as well. But in all honesty, marriage is the best thing that a person could ever, you know, go through.
It's really beautiful.
I have nothing negative to say about marriage or my wife. Alhamdulillah, I feel like I'm really been blessed, and I feel like Allah has favoured me in that regard. So yeah, I'm over the moon, man. Alhamdulillah, and I just ask that Allah preserves it and makes our marriage stronger. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about it.
Yeah, mashallah, tabarakallah.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, I want to ask you what you feel marriage done for you, because for me, I got married at 19.
Yeah,
that's a very 18, sorry, and that's a very young age to
extremely
get married.
Young. Extremely
that's
young.
like very young age to get married. And for me, akhi, I went through moments of immaturity, a lot of development with my wife, alongside her.
Yeah.
You know, subhanallah, like, and sometimes I'll be honest, I'm very critical of my wife in a sense, because I really want her to be at a certain level. So I always push her, I always, you know, drive her. I always I'm like, no, you need to be like this, you need to do this, you need to do that, etc. and whatnot. But when I look at how much my wife's progressed, I'm really proud of her, man. Mashallah, because like any marriage, and you know what, I just got a thought. What do you think of online married couples?
What do you mean online married couples?
There's a lot of online Muslim married couples coming up.
Like
I see people vlogging together, whatnot. How do you feel about them?
I mean,
I'm sure you've come across them because they're like rife on YouTube and everywhere.
I can only speak for myself, because I understand difficulties that people go through, and people go through all types of difficulties, and tests, and fitna, and a lot of the fitna is to do with it's not always easy to kind of do what's right. So I understand that. So I can only speak for myself, and for myself, I just enjoy, alhamdulillah, keeping that side of things private. People ask questions. I remember I typed my name in on Google once. I typed in Faisal Choudhry, and the first suggestion that came up was Faisal Choudhry's wife.
Same thing with
which me. I find kind of rude. And the reason I find it a bit tough is because I actually came across something yesterday which it amazed me, and it's that I was speaking to Sheikh I think it was Sheikh Bangura at
Sheikh Abdul Rahman Bangura,
Iman channel. And I was asking for help with my Muhadditha exam. So I said, you know, we've got the exams coming up and I'm really struggling, and the thing that I'm probably going to struggle the most with is the Arabic speaking. So I said, can you help me with it? And so he started speaking to me in Arabic, and he said, what do you do after work? He said, and I said, so I started explaining to him in Arabic what I do after work. And then at one point I said to him, thumma, like after dinner, I talk with my wife. And I said, Zoji, yeah? And he goes, and he stopped me and he goes, in the Arabs, they never speak about their wives. And he said, they so say ahli, my family, because it's just not what they do in their culture. You don't speak about your wife. You just say family. You just, and then I started thinking, wow, subhanAllah, you know, my teachers, they will never ask me about my wife, but they'll ask about my family, but they know, because
that's what they're talking about,
right? Exactly. And I think that's so beautiful, because you know, when someone asks you about your wife, you do like sort of feel a hit, like, oh, like, why are you asking me about my wife?
remember
leave it alone. Do you know what I mean?
You know,
feel so then when the but whenever the teachers are like, how's family, I'm like, yeah, alhamdulillah, family's good. You know what I mean? And so I found that so beautiful, and that's only something I realized yesterday. For the last year or 2 years, they've never mentioned that, even though they know. So
I remember the first time someone mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
They said, how's your wife? How's the wife doing?
It hurts a bit, doesn't it?
I actually remember sitting and I remember overthinking about that and thinking, why is he talking about my wife for?
Yeah.
Like, why is he saying it like that and whatnot and this, that and whatnot? And it's a bit, it's interesting to hear you say the same thing, because I thought I'm just like going ballistic. Like, am I overthinking?
Yeah, and it's just about having, I suppose, about having ReRooted, and it's about like, it's not about not wanting people.
What's
to
ReRooted? Because I'm sure
like
there's
protective jealousy
of.
Yeah, and like I said, people could twist it and say, oh, like, you don't want anyone to know about your wife and you're oppressive and this, that, the other. But
no.
You know, alhamdulillah, like I mentioned earlier, alhamdulillah, I'm very, very blessed and fortunate, you know, to be in a position that I am. And so I have I don't have no time to entertain those discussions, because I know myself, I know my relationship, and I like to leave it at that.
You know, with me, the reason I brought up this whole online thing is because, bro, I've noticed with online, these couples, bro. By the way, I'm not saying nothing derogatory about them as couples or whatnot. They can, you're doing your thing. Allahumma barak. Actually, to the contrary of what people might think that's gonna come from this, I actually feel really happy that there's so many. Some of them don't even wear hijab. Some of them wear hijab. Some of them, like, different backgrounds, but they're all married. And it's like promoting this sense of marriage, which is a beautiful thing. But one negative thing which I feel can come from this, and I think it definitely comes from this, is people getting this perception from looking at these people and thinking, oh, that's how my marriage is going to be. They only see Instagram. Because, bro, no one's going to film an argument and put that up. No one's going to talk about an argument. So in the minds of people, it instills this thing where this is how marriage is supposed to be. And then when you get married and you have an argument and you have a clash and then you have a problem, and let's say one day you and your wife are sleeping separately. She's at her mum's house and you're at your whatever family's house, and you're feeling a bit distant and whatnot. These are common things that happen in married couples' lives. Bro, like,
you're right, but I think that applies in anything. When you see someone being successful,
it does,
as an
of
entrepreneur,
course.
and you think that when I start a business, I'm going to be just like this person. I'm going to be speaking in front of thousands of people, but it's not like that. You have a lot of struggles. You have to.
It applies with everything, definitely.
Of course.
Definitely.
So I think that I kind of somewhat is upon the person themselves to not be so naive to think that their marriage will be like this, or their business will be like that.
Don't you think it's also upon them as well to kind of put across this thing, or sometimes at least mention, guys, by the way, it is normal to have these sort of things go on in your marriage and stuff like that.
Allah knows best.
Yeah,
I don't know, because I don't know what
it's true. It was also like a bit of a touchy subject as well and whatnot. But it's like I think definitely as people who look at other people on social media, we definitely need to have this perception. That's a real perception.
I think I have my own battle with social media that I'm kind of going through right now. In that, I feel like if you're on social media, I have this internal battle right now. In that, when I'm uploading a picture, if I'm uploading a picture with any intention of trying to see how popular that picture will become, is my ego coming into it, or is that something that's even Islamic or Islamically allowed? Because I remember one of the first khutbahs that really struck me when I was in Cardiff was the Khatib speaking about the Islamic personality and saying that the person, the Muslim, should be in a way where he doesn't want to be known. However, naturally, because of his the beauty in his character, amongst his small community, he is known as that guy with the good character, but he doesn't seek to be known. And then the more I kind of study, the more I realize, and I think it's no a secret that we, alhamdulillah, have the honor, and Allah has favored us to spend time with people such as Ustad Jamal and Ustad Yahya, who are very, very young but so knowledgeable, and they continue to study, and they study with some of the most amazing shaykh from around the world, and alhamdulillah we have the ability to kind of learn from them. And one thing that really hit me about what Ustad Jamal said once is that in Islam, power is to be given, not to be sought after. So people should give you power or fame, but you shouldn't be looking for it yourself. So the thing that I struggle with social media right now is that when I'm uploading a picture trying to promote something to do with myself, I'm seeking that power myself, but I shouldn't be seeking that. People should be giving that to a person because of their talent, right? Yeah. And so when you see someone like Ustad Jamal, who, you know, we all know his accreditations, we all know about his Quran, you know, but when you go to him, he will never tell you for himself, for example, that he is hafid in all 10 qira'ah of the Quran, which is something so admirable. But people will say about him, and because of what people say,
that he's memorized
all 10, right? All 10 ways it can even be read.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
But people will say that about him, and that's how it should be. You should be lifted by the people around you, but you shouldn't try and lift yourself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm struggling with right now. And I think that Allah has maybe given me Freshly Grounded as a route out of social media, because if I do Freshly Grounded more and I lessen my time on social media personally, then that's kind of my route out, in the sense that Freshly Grounded is a brand that I can promote. I'm not promoting myself. So, and why do people watch Freshly Grounded, bro? It's not for me. They watch it because they want to hear about this guest. Yeah. Our most viewed episodes are not the episodes where I'm by myself or me and Sam are by ourselves speaking to each other, but the ones where we have a specific guest on. And that makes me a bit more comfortable. Knowing that people are watching for someone else and not for me makes me a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. You know, I used to struggle with this as well. And the way I deal with it is I post, but I correct the intention. Yeah. So I never let thoughts stop me from posting something, because I don't want to become a victim to shaitan, waswas, like these whispers from the devil and stuff like that. So I post and I try my best.
But there's no denying that the safest thing to do would be to
stay clear. Yeah, definitely.
I think you only learn that when you go through it, because it's one of those things where when people often say that, and I've said it before on countless podcasts, that everybody knows that money does not equal happiness, but everybody wants to find out for themselves. And it's the same with fame or with anything. Once you get a little bit of popularity, you realize that it's actually not what it's.
Yeah, I've said this before.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna say it again. If I was not doing what I'm doing, if I was not doing this, if I was not trying to give dawah, like spread Islam and share Islam with people on social media, my brother, I would not have Snapchat, I would not have Instagram, I would not have Facebook, I would not have YouTube, I would not have nothing. The max I'll have is WhatsApp. Because, bro, I've seen how detrimental it can be as well. There's definitely benefits, and that's what we're trying to do, both of us, I guess, and iERA and all of us. We're trying to bring benefit on this sphere. Speaking of dawah, actually, I wanted to ask you about dawah, because one of the things I actually like to do is speaking to people who aren't necessarily known as dawah figures, like figures. You're not known as someone who is out there to, your main sole goal is to spread Islam.
Yeah, I don't go Speaker's Corner.
Well, let's not even go to Speaker's Corner. Yeah, let's completely pretend you didn't say that. Yeah, but like dawah as it is, I like speaking to people who aren't like dawah figures, but they to get their perception on da'wah and like how their experiences with it. I know that Nate, who's a good friend of yours, he's a brother I've met as well. He's a lovely brother, mashallah. He's one of the producers behind Freshly Grounded. Yep. He works with you, with Omar, at your company, with what you guys do. Nate was a non-Muslim, and just from working with you guys, he ended up becoming a Muslim. How did you guys give Nate da'wah? How did you invite him to Islam? What made Nate one day say, you know what, whoa, I need to become a Muslim?
First of all, we have to obviously, and this is obviously something that you guys at iERA are like the number one kind of one of the number one messages that you guys push, which I love, is first of all you guys push Tawheed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
And secondly, you guys,
what is Tawheed?
The oneness of Allah.
The oneness of God.
And secondly, you guys push this. You guys are probably one of the people who are at the forefront of knowing that guidance only comes from Allah.
Most
and
definitely.
Allah says in the Quran that He guides who He wills, not who you love. To our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But first of all, I just want to clarify the statement about Speaker's Corner. I think that going to Speaker's Corner and giving da'wah is beautiful, and that approach of giving da'wah when you're like giving da'wah face to face is amazing. I know it's something that at iERA they also give da'wah face to face, and I know the brothers who often go Speaker's Corner, and I think that it's amenable. But for me, I can't stand in that realm. Like it's tough for me, and I think
can't stand that place as well. Yeah,
it's just it's tough for me to be to try and debate and stuff. Maybe it's because my knowledge is so poor. But with Nate, obviously we knew that guidance was from Allah first of all, and secondly, we knew his past experiences with Islam, and they were that he used to work in an airport. I don't think he will be shy of me telling this story. And he was around some Muslims who would be really pushy with the deen, and it would really put him off, just like anybody. It would put anybody off. And so when Nate came to our office, he was by chance the first non-Muslim that we were working with.
Wow.
But actually, no, that's not true. We had another non-Muslim in there, but we were definitely majority Muslim. And so whenever we had a non-Muslim in the office working with us, we wanted to be very conscious of not scaring them away from the deen or making ourselves look alien because we do stuff like pray 5 times a day. So we would do things like we would let them know that we pray 5 times a day, and we say, do you mind? Not that we would change if they did mind, but just to make them feel kind of, because we wouldn't, I suppose, hire anyone that would even have the type of personality where they would be offended if we prayed, right? But we let him know we were talking through it, but we would never talk about religion to him ever. We chose consciously to avoid the topic of religion mainly with him, because we never wanted to seem condescending or pushy. But if he brought up the topic, we would talk about it maybe. But generally, the topic of religion was never discussed. So we would rely on our morals. So for example, that
you've learned from Islam,
right? So it was in our office. It's very, very important to us that music is not played because of the language that we often hear, especially in the culture nowadays. It's important to us that we don't swear. So swearing is you're made to feel shy if you swear, because obviously naturally sometimes you might do so, but you feel shy instantly. We never lie. Even when dealing with clients in our industry, which is marketing, it's very, very common to lie. And in business in generally, just twist the truth sometimes. And so we would ensure that we would never lie no matter what. And so we would naturally we'd instill these things in ourselves. And I suppose he took a liking to that. And it wasn't a quick process, man. He was working with us for over a year, well over a year, maybe even two. I'm not sure. Before he even expressed that he firstly he stopped drinking alcohol. We couldn't tell if that was because of the deen or if he just genuinely just wanted to cut down. So he stopped drinking alcohol. I think eventually he stopped certain things, and he kind of expressed to us that he was going to take his shahada at some point, but not. So then we knew that he was kind of ready to become Muslim, and that was a tough period when we knew that he wanted to become Muslim, and between him taking his shahada, because as everyone knows, I'm sure you guys, the team at iERA know as well, when you know someone is ready to become Muslim but they're scared of taking their shahada, it's a very scary time, because we know of Abu Talib, and so we know that you could die a non-Muslim even if you believe. So it's very important to take that shahada, and so that was a time for us that was a bit tough.
And the shahada is the declaration of faith that us as Muslims do. You know, when someone wants to become a Muslim, they say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, which means I bear witness that there is no God, no deity worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the last and final messenger of God.
When I took Nate's shahada, I actually had some people tell me that I had done it wrong. And so I had to use your dad's video of your dad taking a shahada in Africa as proof that it was not wrong, because people were like, oh, you should have said this, or you should have said that, or you didn't do it right. And so it was around the same time you guys went to Africa. So I used that as reference, like all of these people took their shahada. Shahada, your dad did it wrong.
Yeah, of course, bro. Subhanallah, man. I think da'wah is very powerful, given through manners. You know, I know some non-Muslims may be listening. and Muslims may be listening. I know a common statement that's made is Muslims are one thing, Islam is one thing. Islam is perfect, Muslims are not. But the reason why I feel like we shouldn't settle with statements like that is because Islam is supposed to change you.
Yeah.
Islam is supposed to make you someone who is like liberated. When you see people, you smile at them, you give them attention, you show them this concepts within Islam that are there, bro, just to care about people's feelings. That you don't offend someone. You maybe tell someone something, and maybe you delay something. All of these things, these wisdoms from Allah, from God, are there for a reason. And all of these things, we as Muslims need to make sure that we are projecting them in the best way. You are projecting them in the best way. As someone who's trying to give da'wah, as someone who's trying to bring people to Islam, you're trying to call people to Islam because you believe rationally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, in terms of every single aspect that exists, Islam is the truth. And you know that. And you've experienced that in terms of everything. And now you want to share that with people. Sometimes when you want to share that with people, you can become pushy. But just because you know it's the truth doesn't mean that they know it. Do you get it? So you need to be very emotionally intelligent when you're sharing Islam.
And I suppose we have to look at the example of Allah, which is the best of examples. That I believe it was it 13 years that the Islam had been brought down, but there was no rules. For 13 years, it was like the building the love of the deen, rather than implementing like the halal and haram. I might be wrong about that. I probably
no, but there was a period of time, where
and Allah is the best of examples. He knows His creation better than anyone could.
Yeah.
So if that's how it goes, then maybe we should try and instill the love first, and the rules kind of slowly, especially from someone who has never had the rules like that in their life, and to kind of implement them all at the same time is tough,
bro. Faisal, man, on that note, I think we've taken so much of your time, and I'm so grateful for having you on this podcast. Just to give context to some of our viewers, I was thinking, who can we get next for the podcast? I want to get someone who's really good, really, out there and whatnot. It just occurred to me, why don't we get Faisal, someone who's had his own podcast for such a long time, and mashallah, we made it happen, very, very quickly as well. Very good turnaround time, mashallah, tabarakallah. It's been a pleasure having you on, bro, and Jazakallahu khairan for coming, man.
Barakallahu feek for having me on, man. It's been different to be on the other side of the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm normally used to being a host, and I'm not normally used to being this calm either, because I'm like,
nice chilled out mood.
I'm so panicky when I'm the host. I'm trying to control everything. So it's nice to be able to sit back and relax. And alhamdulillah, you've done an amazing job.
Alhamdulillah.
Well.
Thank you.
And I think the team at iERA has done an amazing job in putting together these podcasts. I saw the first episode, and I was very pleasantly surprised at the level of quality, the production quality, and it also makes someone like myself who is in the same field to really focus on picking up and on my quality levels, because it really is beautiful. So I ask Allah puts barakah in this as well.
Ameen. Thank you so much, bro. And brothers and sisters, on that note, that has been this episode of ReRooted. If you would like to listen to our podcast and share it with your friends, we are on YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, we are also on iTunes and the podcast app. We're on Google Play. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Spotify. That means that there's no excuse to not listen to the podcast. Any platform that you use, we're there, inshallah. On that note, take care of yourselves. That's a wrap. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace.